This is a quick tour of how I am using a spreadsheet with TipWeb data to feed information to individual websites. It doesn't show all of the preparation work that went into getting the documents to feed each other, but it's a streamlined approach, and I'm going to walk you through it here in the next few minutes. What you see in front of you now is a Google Drive folder with one Google Sheet called Tag Listing and a series of Google Sites that have been built. We're going to start with the Tag Listing sheet, and I've already got it open. Tab over to it. The sheet itself consists of two main sections. The first section is data imported from a TipWeb report, which basically reflects the status of every Chromebook on every campus that is currently using them as one-to-one devices. And as we go through the report, I'll page down here real quick. You can see that we're getting into thousands upon thousands of different devices at different places. You know, given each site has several hundred in use, you can see how they build up real quick. What I did was I built a section over to the side for each campus, a little dashboard or scoreboard, whatever you want to call it. And I used a formula called COUNTIFS, or COUNTIFS, depending on what you want to call it, to go through the sheet and count the number of devices that meet two conditions. So in this case, for Carter Riverside, the formula is set out to count how many devices are listed with 001, the number of the campus, and you can see there a little wildcard figure, and then searching the next column, the G column, for the in repair status, and the number of devices that meet that criteria is 8. Come down to the next formula. It's similar, except now we're searching column G for the number of statuses that are in use. Lather, rinse, repeat for available, stolen, and recycled, all at site 001. We build a new section for 002 Arlington Heights and repeat the process where we count the number of devices that, first of all, have 002 in their site name and in repair as their status in column G. And you can see through copy and paste how we can build a series of these dashboards pretty quickly. Now, we don't want every campus to have access to all of the information in this sheet. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've built a series of Google Sites, and I'll start here with number 1, where the particular site embeds the portion of the sheet that represents the information for that campus, but doesn't show anything else. Now, what you see here on the front doesn't reflect the actual process, but I can go ahead and demonstrate that process here in just a moment. Down at the bottom of the tag listing spreadsheet, we have to scroll down a little ways. Scroll back up just a little, see if I can catch it. In Google Sites, you can embed portions of a spreadsheet, of a Google Sheet, using a URL. And so I'm going to copy this URL, and then I'm going to paste it into this Google site. And we'll take a moment to look at the different parts to see how it works. I double-click in the blank space, go to the embed, embed by URL, paste it in. That's not the URL. The URL should be a little longer than that. Let me go back to my spreadsheet, select, copy, and paste again. So the different parts of this URL, and Google Sites is starting to give dynamic previews of what content looks like. That's why you saw the screen kind of go in and out and all about right there. There is a link to the sheet that we're pretty used to seeing if we share or collaborate using Google Docs. The ID of the sheet here with this series of letters and numbers. Publish in HTML format. This number here, I'm going to stop here for just a second and highlight this. This number represents the individual sheet that is on the Google Sheet workbook. And what is cool is that it assigned it a number that doesn't change even if I go in and I change the name of this sheet. earlier it was named with the date February 21, but I changed the date to feeder, or I changed the name of the tab rather to feeder. That number in the link that links to the particular sheet doesn't change. So that gives us some stability as we build things moving forward. And where the rubber meets the road is right here. I'm going to highlight this. The range of this particular sheet in that workbook that I want to embed is cells I1 through J5. And when we go back and we look at the sheet itself, here's cell I1. And then we come down here, here is cell J5. Or actually J6 is probably what I want to do to include that last row. So I can go in here, I can actually make a quick edit. I'm going to change that from J5 to J6. It takes a second to think about it. And when I click insert, there is that portion of the spreadsheet. No other campus's information, none of the other TipWeb information included. And I can size the box down and leave it there. And from that point forward, what we can do, and I'll go ahead and delete that example since we have a good one here, is we can duplicate the sites we've created. Just right click, make a copy. Open that up. And then go in and change it for the next site that we want to publish. Change the campus numbers. And with Google Sites, it's easier. I have not yet found a way to edit the embed, to go in and edit this to change the range. But what I wind up doing is deleting that portion that was copied over. And that URL should still be on my clipboard. So I can double click embed by URL, paste. And the paste includes the old range. So I have to go back to my sheet. We're looking at site 007, or 008 rather. I'll have to change that in a moment. So that's going to be cells I37 through J42. So I'll go ahead and get to that part of the URL, I37 to J42. And there goes the dynamic preview again. We'll give it a second to settle up. There's a little preview. Looks pretty good. Insert. And there's the data for Northside. Size it down. And we'll change the 7s to 8s. And that's the process. So we'll go through. If we find any hiccups or any inconsistencies, we'll work through them. But hopefully this helps give you an overview of how we're setting this up so far.